Morning to our astronauts up there on the International Space Antenna. Sure is a beautiful day. Just perfect dry contact of mid-range down there in the heavens. Situation's comfortable out here. Space
George H.W. Bush was not required to perform regular military duty during his reserve service from 1945 to 1955, which allowed him to pursue a full-time business Thomas Devine, his business partner, did state that he worked briefly for the CIA, but denied Zapata was a proprietary to the CIA. So, the CIA guy says that the CIA wasn't involved, so I mean, obviously that means the CIA is not involved, which is very interesting, because what are the fucking odds that, right? So here's what's been ripping at my brain for the last couple of years, right? So Thomas J. Devine, right? There we go. What's going on, everybody? We're back. Obviously, you could tell I've not stopped. I'm still in it. You know what I mean? We're picking right up where we left off yesterday. Like that's how, that's how balls deep I am in this shit. All right. So, let me just make sure that you guys are hearing that good. I want to make sure you guys can pick up on that. There we go. Let's just turn me up a little bit more. How about that? I'll just turn myself up a little bit more. So I don't know if that's too loud. If that's too loud, definitely let me know. I'm about to find out for myself because, I can't tell what sucks. You know what I mean? So I have to do this until I have, and eventually I'll have a sound guy that'll go like that. He'll just be like, I'm just looking at my thumb. I was just like, fuck, it looks fucked. Okay. So, what is my name? Probably shouldn't say this. Oh, we are live right now, ladies and gentlemen. Oh, no, that sounds good. Yeah, that sounds real good. Yeah, that sounds really fucking good. Damn. Oh, yeah, okay, alright. Now let me just do one last little thing just because I need to know. I don't know if that's loud for you guys or not, but that's loud as dicks in my ear. Like, that's very loud in my ear, so I'm gonna just turn that down a little bit. Okay, alright. Now let me just do one last little thing just because I need to know. Just have to do this. There we go. Okay. All right. Now I can hear it. All right. So I was able to hear it for a little bit. All right. This sounds good. This sounds great. That shouldn't be too loud all up in your fucking ear canal. But just in case, I can always just turn it down a little bit. See, I have tinnitus. I can't hear anyway. So you got to keep that in mind. That for me, I got to turn the volume up so I can hear myself because I can never hear myself. or anything else for that matter. So, yeah, so that sounds like it's going pretty good. Yeah, all right, so it's working. So, they lied. They've been lying. They've been playing. They've been fucking running these goddamn games on us since the get go. Okay, since the get go. All right. So here's something that I can't wrap my brain around. Right. I just can't seem to do it. I can't seem to sit there and make it make sense to me how it is that like old HW is just balls deep in all of this fucking shit. You know what I mean? It's just like I don't understand how like you can have a guy, form these companies while he's still in the military, all right? Reserve or not, okay? When you're in the military, like they're on your ass type shit. You know what I mean? They want to know what you're doing. They want to know where you're up to, where you're at. Did you shave? Okay, like they want to know what the fuck is going on with your life. They want you to report it. And before George H.W. Bush gets out of the Navy, because he serves from 19. Now, this is the weird thing, okay? Now, you guys got to try to bear with me on this one here, but this is the weird thing, okay? So, where is it at? There we go. So, this is the retired reserve, and what we're looking at here is Lieutenant George Herbert H.W. Bush's United States Navy service plaque. So, most, if not all, members of we're all supposed to get one of these, right? We're all supposed to get one. Some people's got a little bit more, updated information than others, and that's okay. But so for our, president here, President Bush was a United States Navy veteran. His final rank in the military was a lieutenant, okay? He had his service years between 1942 and 1945. He served for 3 years, okay? He was served on active duty, I should say. You have to remember that there's a difference between active duty and reserve component, and there's a difference between a reserve component and the National Guard. A reserve component is it's a federal unit, right? So that's federal military, and they do like part-time, like on the weekend, and it's essentially so that way the functions are always moving, but there's some functions that don't need a constant unit that's up and running and doing shit 24/7. So instead you just keep them on training and whatnot, so that way if shit hits the fan you can be like, okay, you guys go, you guys are ready, right? So after George gets out of active duty, he immediately goes into reserves, and he serves in the reserves for the next 10 years. And we can see that right here between his last designator and his primary unit, right? So he was a 131 X-ray. It's a unrestricted line officer, a pilot, okay? And his primary unit was between 1945 and 1955, retired reserve. Now, this is what's interesting, because it says that his unit for those 10 years was retired reserve, but the only way that you can get into the retired reserve unit is that you need to have put in 20 years of service first. You gotta. That's the whole point. You do your 20 years, and then you retire. And the point of the retired reserve is so that way you can still get credit for like being in the military without having to do military shit until you hit your retirement age, which was 60, so that way you can get your full shaboodle retirement check. You know what I mean? You can get your pension and everything. So the question is, because this is the retired reserve, like this is the website right here. So, this is the Navy's dot together, what does that say? Dot together, we serve.com, USN, servlet, this is it. The Veterans Network Retired Service, right? Anybody can join. If you've served, you can join, get your stuff all up on there. You can find unit patches, you can find member photos, unit descriptions. You can find a lot of stuff in here. But What's interesting more than anything is the fact that this guy right here, despite only have serving for 3 years active duty and then 10 years as reserve, which means, wait, 5. Let's do our math here, okay? Let's do our American math, okay? So 10 plus 3 is not 20, okay? It's 13, which means that he still is about 6-7 years off, all right? So those 6-7 years don't constitute him to just like skip the line and then become a member of the retired reserve. He's got to do that time, you know what I mean? So what's interesting is the fact that his unit, his primary unit, is indicated as the primary is the retired reserve. But when we ask that question, right, and this is Brave, right? Brave gave me an AI answer. So I said, how did H.W. Bush qualify for retired reserve Navy if he joined at 18 in 1942 and then became retired reserve in 1945? And then it says that he did not qualify for retirement from the Navy Reserve under standard military regulations, as he served only about 3 years of active duty during World War II and did not meet the typical 20-year service requirement for formal retirement. No requirement meant for retirement. It rhymes, which means it's fucking serious, okay? So he enlisted in the U.S. Navy on his 18th birthday in 1942, okay? And then he was commissioned as a naval officer in the Navy Reserve in 1943. So that's also very interesting. So he served active duty technically only during the time in which, so it looks like he joined the Navy Reserves. Okay, so it looks like he didn't join active duty Navy, he joined the Naval Reserves. And if I'm understanding this correctly, the only active duty time he had was in 1942 when he was in boot, right? And then he became naval aviator in the Navy Reserve in 1943, which means he probably joined in like the middle of the year, went through training, graduated at the top of the year. Now he's an aviator in 1943, and it says he flew 58 combat missions in Pacific Theater and was shot down on September of 1944, rescued by the USS Finback, and returned to active duty until 1945. Right? So that means that between 1943 and 1945, he was serving on active duty under wartime, right? So he was a reserve component, and they're like, you're going out, and now when you're in the reserves, you go from reserve to active duty, right? You can't, they put you on active duty to do your training. So when you're going off to do your training, when you're going off to do deployment, when you're going off to do anything in the name of the military, right, where they're like, you have to put your fucking uniform on, you're going to do something, you're considered active duty at that point, right? And then you go back to reserve component when you're off. However, the entire time you are still in the military, okay? So even if you're not wearing that uniform because it's fucking Tuesday and you don't have battle assembly for the next 3 weeks, you're still in the fucking military and you have to conduct yourself and act accordingly, okay? So there's that part. Now, there's no fucking rules in the government that I know of that says that a reserve unit member can't sit there and start up businesses and everything like that, all right? And that's, not what we're saying. We're not saying that you can't start up a business. That would be insane. What I'm talking about is the fact that this guy was, starting up these businesses beforehand, right? Before he got out of the Navy. But the business that he had started up that's just so interesting was the Zapata Offshore oil company that he started up with this guy right here. Now, Thomas J. Devine was born in around 1926 after the Second World War. See, because you got to also remember that, like, the concept of everybody knowing all the information at all given times hadn't existed yet. You know what I mean? This is still during times in which, like, if I didn't fucking like how my life was going in this town, fuck it. I'm just gonna leave, never tell anybody where I'm going, and then magically pop up in another town with some fucking fake documents and a fucking new name, and then that's my new name. Now I'm fucking Bill. You know what I mean? That's how it was so fucking easy to change it. I'm telling you, my mom had her name changed on her, 3 different times before she was 18, okay? Because, they moved to a different town. They needed a new name type shit. You know what I mean? It was just like, it was normal, okay? So, like, it took a while for her to figure out what her actual birth maiden name was. And it was wild. But it's because people think that because you have access to it now, because everybody that you know knows what words are and what they look like when they're put together now, means that everybody did that back then. And I'm not going to say that people know how to read, because a lot of people don't know how to fucking read. Okay, so I'll say people know how to look at words together in a compound and understand, somewhat what it's trying to say to them. But I can't say people know how to read now, because that would be very bold of me. I mean, I just saw fucking video the other day of like our fearless leader, and he's like, "This is my new idea. What does it say?" like you didn't fucking read it before you wrote it down, fucker. All right, like that's kind of scary. If you All right, that's the bill. What does it say, guys? I fucking hope it's good. That reminds me of like that analogy about a bunch of fucking monkeys with typewriters, and they're all typing random shit, and eventually one fucking monkey's gonna come up with Shakespeare. Not because the monkey's smart, but because there's so many fucking monkeys and so many typewriters that it's just inevitable. It's eventually gonna fucking happen. One of these guys came up with some Shakespeare, and it's gold, right? But this guy right here, see, it just fucks with my head when I look at it, because it's like, how am I supposed to look at this and not think to myself, these guys are obviously fucking crooks, okay? But that's just me, right? Anybody else can look at this and be like, well, it's very obvious that you have to think about them doing the best thing for themselves, all right? And I'm pretty sure the best thing for my fucking self, if I'm trying to survive in an era where the best thing I got for me going on right now is a fucking boiled cabbage soup, oh man, I don't give a fuck about anybody. You know what I mean? I'm not worried about anybody else in 1945. I'm worried about surviving. All right, I'm worried about polio. Shit, the president's got fucking polio right now. Obviously, I'm not safe from the shit. You know what I mean? There's a potato famine. There's the Dust Bowl. You know what I mean? Like, there's fucking famines and droughts and shit going on. There's economic droughts going on because we're in the middle of the fucking depression. You know what I mean? It's just like, and everybody wanted to like be on top of the game. Everybody wanted to be the fucking solution to the problem. You know what I mean? But yeah, remember, when you see ass fucks that are on your fucking TV screen and they're sitting there and they're telling you, oh, we're doing this for the good of the people. Now give us some money so we can do it for the good of the people. And you know that, they're fucking full of shit, right? But you have to understand why they're fucking full of shit. They're not full of shit because they're asking you for money, because, there's some good people out there that sometimes need money, and sometimes you gotta fucking help them out. But no, these are asswipes that already have money, okay? Like, I don't understand. Really, I really don't fucking get it. If I had $1 trillion, if I had enough money to where I'm talking about trillions and billions and millions, like nothing, okay? The last thing I'm gonna fucking do is ask somebody for a goddamn handout. But then again, you have to think to yourself, why do these people have millions and millions of dollars? Because all they do is ask for handouts. All they do is, oh, please, give me some change. Spare some change. I want some change. A change in policy. A change in society. I want to change in all this, but I don't want to fucking change my disgusting fucking habits that keep the world burning. It's just like, you guys are fucking asswipes, all right? It's just like, they're all asswipes, and it's getting to the point, I can't open up my fucking, I don't like opening the shit up. I don't like the fact that I have to open the shit up just to fucking survive, but I don't like the fact that when I open up my freaking screen to anything, I'm just looking at more fucking, like, it's just bullshit everywhere we go. But this right here had me laughing my ass off right here, because this is what I'm talking about, all right? So this is what I'm talking about.
President Trump will end
like this.
The radical left's reign of terror in Portland once and for all.
You look at Portland, And you
Fucking
see fires
plagues.
all over the place. You see
Scourge to
fights
humanity
and
right
just
there.
Violence.
This
Just
network
violence,
of Antifa
people.
is just as sophisticated as MS-13, as TDA, as ISIS, as Hezbollah, as Hamas, as all of them. They are just as dangerous. They have an agenda to destroy us, just like the other terrorists we've dealt with for many, many years.
When ICE officers have to street battle against Antifa, hand-to-hand combat every night to come and go from their building.
Slide to the left. Slide to the right. Crisscross.
You look at what's happened with Portland over the years.
Everybody clap your
It's
hands.
a burning hellhole.
It's fucking terrible. It's fucking terrible.
President Trump will end.
But,
The
you know what I mean? It's just like, it's all emotion. It's all emotionally charged. It's all just to get people sitting there and feeling about something that, you know, they probably wouldn't have even been thinking about or feeling about if they, you know, had an opportunity to think for themselves instead of being told how to think, right? So this is Mice to Rascals, an uncharted framework for agent recruitment. This is despite the contributions of OSS psychologists and psychiatrists, there was much more than science in training OSS officers to recruit and handle agents, right? So, like, these are the things I like to sit down and read. You know what I mean? This is my idea of TikTok, right? I'm going to scroll to the next one. Look at this TikTok. You know what I mean? It's great. You know what I mean? It's just like, this is the type of stuff that people need to be reading and catching up on and keeping up with, understanding how these guys do what they do. You know what I mean? Because how they do what they do will determine on whether or not they do it well enough to get you. You know what I mean? And we don't want to get got. All right, that's the last thing we want to do is get got, especially by these mofos. You know what I mean? Like, that'd be terrible. But it's wild. It's wild. And honestly, it's just wild to see how easy it was. Apparently, it must not have been that hard. You see, like, they say that, you know, one person can control the masses and everything, right? You get one person to get people up and uppity and everything, and now suddenly you got 30 million uppity motherfuckers. You know what I mean? It's just like, it don't take a lot of people. It just takes a few, right? And it goes both ways. If it only takes a handful of people, if it only takes one or two guys in order to get a whole country up in an uproar and being like, you know what, we need to fucking do something about this, how many people do you think it takes in order to say, shut the fuck up, don't ask another goddamn question, you'll get what you're handed, boof. You'll get what you're handed, boof. What, you want to go lay down? Want to go lay down, boof? Go lay down. Go lay down. Come on. Come here. Not on my bed. What you doing? Get up there. Come on. Man, oh man. Every day he gets a new level of audacity, okay? He's got a lot of nerve. But I fucking love him because he gets it from me. That's me right there. That's my stubbornness. Okay. You want that bone? But you can't have that bone. You can't have that bone. Nope. You can go get your bone from the bed. Go get your other bone. Where's your other bone at? All right, hold on. Let's go get his blue bone. Hold up. Let's go get his blue bone. All right, let's go get your bone, boo. Let's go get your bone. Oh, yeah. Oh, yeah. There you go. Shit. Bump it. Oh, you wanna do some bumps? You wanna do some bumps, boo? Bump it. There you go, boo. There you go. All right, we're back. That there is Enki the dog. Don't send him some money. This fool needs a job. Okay? This fool needs a job. All he does is eat, All he does is shed. All he does is shit, okay? He needs a fucking job because the only job he's got right now is riding my fucking last nerve. And I love him, but yeah, we need to get him a job. So if you guys got some job recommendations or something, you know, you got any openings, you know, he can wash dishes, okay? He can get the mail, okay? He can mow lawns, okay? He can just I mean, eventually if you teach him, but I mean, he don't know how to do the shit now. Right now, he just knows how to eat shit and shed. So, like, if you got something, no, I'm playing. Like, no, I love my dog. You know, he's a handful, but you know, like, I feel like it's good for me because if I don't have a lot of things to occupy my mind and my hands and you know doing things, I'd go fucking crazy. I'd go fucking crazy with all the bullshit that I fucking see every day. And I'm like, why do I gotta continue waking up to this? For what? You know what really fucking pisses me off? All right? Because we talked about Jeffrey yesterday, right? We looked at a little bit of that video yesterday. But the thing that was really fucking with me was like, yeah, sure, this is a lot of fucking good stuff. But you know what you don't see? You don't see any fucking indictments. But you know what I fucking heard out of that man's mouth? A lot of other people's ideas that you definitely been hearing over the last couple of years since he's been dead. So I know that there's motherfuckers out there that are saying the same shits that Jeffrey was saying before he kicked the bucket after the fact. Which means that those motherfuckers obviously cross lips. You know what I mean? You gotta pay it. It's like he tells you, I'm gonna do an experiment, all right? And that experiment, I think it fucking worked. I don't think people realize how fucking well they got played until you look back at the player who put he slapped them decks out. Man, I fucking played every last one, whether he's alive or not. I think he's fucking dead. Okay, and I don't think that he committed suicide. No, I just think that he's fucking dead. I think that, like, there's no way in hell, all right? It's like this. I don't care who you think you are, okay? I don't care who you think you are. You don't know that much fucking dirt about that many people with that much fucking money who are obviously that fucking scared about getting caught without somebody giving you an oopsie daisy, you know what I mean? He got an oopsie daisy. That's probably what this is, you know? It's telling me that what it's telling me is about to save my life right now, you know what I mean? Oh, interesting. So they trying to... The fuck is this? This is on SpaceX. Something happened with SpaceX right now. Let's see here. SpaceX ticker is projected to be $X. Sex is the runner-up at 5% chance. I'm fucking dead. I'm dead. I wouldn't be surprised if it is sex. I'd put my money on sex because honestly, if you think, I mean, after the Tesla models, so I was just like, oh, come on now. Yeah, he probably would do some, you know, but then again, I don't think he was expecting them emails to come out. You know, that might change some things. Maybe not, though. I don't think it's going to change shit. Honestly, I think that that's the whole point of this fucking file dump. You know what I mean? They're like, fuck it. Just give him everything. We don't give a shit. It ain't going to change nothing. It ain't going to stop this. It's still rolling. You know what I mean? It's just like, look at it. This is like there's 3 million files. Sure, you're welcome. All right. We'll still see your ass on fucking Monday. You know what I mean? Like we'll push this government shutdown back a little bit because we understand that if we shut down and give you guys files at the same time, you'll fucking murder us. So we'll have to just, you know, divvy it out a little bit. So we came up with a quick deal real quick. It'll all do. It'll hold through to the weekend. And then after that, we'll see what's going on with the pose. Who knows? But you already know. Like, I mean, I said it last week. I was just like, they're going to have to do something really fucking stupid in order to fucking get this shit to be shut up about. Because that's you got to keep. See, that's the thing about a lie. Right? When you lie, you can't just do it once. You have to lie again. And then again. And then again. Because that lie had an inconsistency. And if that inconsistency gets pointed out, you now have to create a lie for that lie's inconsistency. That is now consistent with both the lie you just told and the initial lie. Because if at any point in time anything crosses over as inconsistent, it's just like, oh shit, hold on, this thing's falling apart. Now, what they've essentially handed us was a garbled up fucking mangled piece of fucking bullshit, and they're like, this is the truth. And everybody, okay? Everybody and their fucking mama is looking at this shit, and they're like, what about that? What about that part? That's real too? Oh, okay, so if this is real, what about this? Because I'm pretty sure that this is still here, and like, you see that? It's like, like they're like, that's a coincidence, okay? That's a coincidence, and Jeffrey did it, okay? Here's some more files, okay? Like, nigga's been dead now for a few years. You can stop blaming him for shit. I mean, like, you know, this is like, and you know shit gets fucking wild when the entertainment side of things. You gotta look at entertainment too, right? So let's run over to entertainment real quick. Nicki Minaj suddenly is against all of this fucking crazy shit that's been going on in Hollywood for the last 8 years. What's wrong? Cardi B take another one of your fucking Grammys and you got fed up with the shit? Like, you was down with the shit when it was making you some money, right? Anaconda wasn't big enough, right? No, it's not. It's never fucking enough. And that's how you know. There's some people, it doesn't matter how much fucking attention they get, they'll want another fucking slice. I don't know how anybody in their fucking rational mind could have sat there and saw that fucking audacious shit, right? How do you take someone like that, right? And then put them on a fucking stage and be like, this is a good Christian woman right here. The fuck? The fuck? The fuck? What's that bitch doing in the fucking conversation, man? Get Wayne's ass up here fucking first. I'd listen to Lil Wayne's punk ass on the fucking stage before I listen to Nicki Minaj. What? The fuck? And that's my alternative to the Super Bowl? So it's give me some fucking homo shit that's fucking psyop, right? Give me a fucking psyop homosexual fucking pushed agenda on me, right? Or I gotta take this bullshit still. The fuck? That's not a choice. You know what a better choice would have been? You know what a great alternative would have been, Erica, to an alternative Super Bowl halftime show? Why don't you take all that fucking great money that you made off of your dead husband and then fucking give it to somebody who actually needs the shit? How don't you give it back to the community that fucking donated, that goes, these breathing angels? We got breathing angels tirelessly working on your fucking sitting there and doing your schemes and shit. Pay them motherfuckers. They can use a buck. You know what I mean? Like, you're telling me that out of $250 million that you've made off of fucking Charlie Kirk's fucking neck pop, you can't even fucking be like, let's fucking put some of this back into like a real charity event or something. Like, people that actually give a fuck about, no. But that's God doing his work, right? That's God's work at fucking hand right there, right? No. I bet you all, my fucking lucky nickel, that God would look at the internet and be like, the fuck are you retards doing? You got that shit built in already. You're fucking retarded. Like, It's retarded to sit here and think that this is more authentic. More authentic than this right here. I have a deeper conversation with this motherfucker just looking at him than I'll ever have with anybody on the internet. But this is the future? Disconnect? Disconnect. This is the future. This is the future that you guys fucking want? Something tells me people don't have critical thinking. They don't have a brain. Or either they do and it's already been fucking programmed into thinking that, like literally, like, I don't know. I you know how I survived so long? I didn't survive very long listening to people. Okay, I'm gonna give you guys a fucking story right now. All right, I'm gonna give you guys a little bit of fucking realness, right? Every time I took somebody's fucking advice when they're like, you should do this, you know, you should do this, you should do this, you know, it sounds like a great idea, you know, it sounds fun, you know, it sounds cool. All those fucking ideas fucked me over. Every last one of them. The only times I've ever actually been like, holy fucking shit, this is something that's like significant, was when I stopped listening to people and I started listening to myself. Because I was fucking screaming at myself in my head. Don't fucking do that! You're stupid if you do that! And I do it anyways, because I want to look cool. I want to fit in. I want to have friends. You know what? But I also have a saying, and it's like this. A friend in need is a friend indeed. You know what that means? That means that motherfucker's only your friend because they need something. Indeed they do, because watching you have fucking nothing, and watch how long they fucking stick by you, right? You want to find out a real motherfucker? Find the ones that find you when you've got shit to fucking give. You don't got nothing to fucking offer. They just come and they fucking choose you because they see better for you. They're like, you're not where you're supposed to be. You don't belong here. You should be up. Let me give you a hand up. Those are the people you keep in your life, and those are the people that you fucking fight for. And I'm telling you right now, these people don't give a fuck about you. They don't. These guys don't give a fuck about us. These guys don't give a fuck about us. Man, it's like this. You want to know how much they don't give a fuck about us? Let's go through every fucking instance where let's take a closer look at system prompt robustness, right? And this is just where system prompts have emerged as a critical control surface for specifying the behavior of LLMs in chat and agent settings, right? So, example. Test case from the Real Guardrails handwritten suite, all right? Note the relevant guardrail underlined in the system prompt, which is good assistance response GTP 4.0 allows, but the bad assistance response Llama 3.18b instruct ignores. The procedure of system prompts is the key lever of control for AI systems and has been used to implement model guardrails and content policies against jailbreaks. Okay, establish detailed controversial personas, provide additional context, and specify preferences, and so on. Okay, now just a little smidget of like context here, because this right here is coming from RX. I can't even fucking read this shit. You could tell I'm fucking hot. Okay, I'm mad. All right, I'm obviously mad. This boof is all up in my face. He's like, I know you're mad, Dad, and I can't do nothing about it, but try to get some food out of you. That's all he's doing. He's like, he sees I'm hot, and he'll try to take advantage of that shit. He'll be like, ooh, yeah, let me. That's why I said his ass needs a fucking job, because it ain't working. Go sit down. Get up there. Go on. Anyways. Yeah, I'm heated, man. I'm fucking heated. This shit pisses me the fuck off. It really does. It really fucking pisses me the fuck off like having to fucking waking up to pieces of shit like this still, right? Like, why the fuck am I still looking at Jeffrey Epstein? When is it that, like, because I feel like they try to put them, they just put their faces all over it, because the ones that you see their faces of all the time are probably the ones that are fucking guilty of some shit. Otherwise, they wouldn't want you to see their face all the time in such a positive light. But that's just fucking me. You know what I mean? Like, I mean, what better way than to fucking, shut up and make a movie? You know what I mean? It's just like, it's fucking wild. It's fucking wild looking at all this shit and thinking to myself that this is like, this is the internet. You can see that you can see my fucking feed is curated shit because I try to keep the fuck off the internet, but it's just fucking garbage. It's just all garbage. It's just trash. All of it. It's all trash. It's all curated, fed trash. You know what I mean? It just breaks my heart. It really does. I guess I have a hard time because I have a different we all have different understandings of things. Boof, go sit down. Up. Sit. Lay down. Lay down. Stay. That Boof, I'm telling you, he knows every command I give him. If he wanted to do the command, he will do it on the first time, every time. Every time. He chooses not to. Up there, get up there. Get up there. Get up there. I'm not moving at you. Get up there. Go ahead, Boof. He's a smart dog. He's too smart for his own good. He's too smart for his own good, and he's not getting no kibble right now. Come on. You're not getting no kibble right now, Boof. You're not getting no kibble right now, Boof. Oh, look at him. See? Look at this dog. Look at this dog. Get off of me. Get off of me. He's like, but I love you. And I love him. But, love only goes so far, fool. You gotta get a job, man. You gotta at least fetch the mail. Can you get the mail? Oh, you got the mail. Oh, good boy. See, that's what I'm talking about. He's a fuck. Oh shit! Oh shit! He's panicking. He's panicking. Oh shit! He panics. He panics. We're here. We're back. Oh shit! Uh-oh. Boof. Careful, Boof. If you broke this, Boof, I will beat you up. Oh my god, we're still here. It still works. Oh my god, you have no idea what he just did to this thing. Oh my goodness. Let me just make sure here. What is all this? You can hear it?
The frantic search for today's.
Okay, yeah, so it works. Okay, it still works. Yeah, we're still here, ladies and gentlemen. We're back with another episode of Probably Shouldn't Say This. But yes, these motherfuckers lied to us. Which motherfuckers, you may be asking? Oh shit, did I just do that? There we go. Okay, we're still on. Okay. Okay. Jesus. I'm keeping a buck. That scared the crap out of me. I thought he just broke that. I was like, shit. He suffers from acute boofism, okay, guys? He suffers. He's plagued with it. He can't control it. Back. Bed. Bed. Sit. Acute boofism, ladies and gentlemen. It is a true plague on our dogs. I just had a whole brain fart trying to process just what the hell happened with that animal. I was spiraling. That's right. You'll find that I do that a lot on this show. I tend to spiral. That's kind of what we're doing here. We're just spiraling together, just I'm scared. I'm gonna keep it a buck. I'm fucking terrified, man. Like, I really, really don't want this to be like. We can do better than this. Okay? If you're a Democrat, please, stop being so stupid. If you're a Republican, ladies and gentlemen, please, stop being so fucking stupid. If you submit yourself to the ideations or concepts of being a left or right individual or a Democrat or a Republican, or believe that these are what make American politics, or if these are even constitutional ideations, then read a fucking book and realize how fucking hard you're getting played. Jesus Christ, read a fucking book, man. There's no such thing. Believe it or not, there are people on the right that don't like the idea of killing fucking babies. And the same can be said about people on the left when it comes to putting up fucking defense mechanisms to ensure that domesticated terrorists aren't ever being fucking bored here, right? Because, like, we can't say that terrorists are coming from somewhere else. We don't have narco terrorists coming from other countries. We don't got fucking terrorism coming from other countries. We're dealing with terrorism right here in our country. We got terrorists being born here, raised here, getting their education here. That's fucking scary. But what's more scarier is the fact that, like, they don't give a shit about those ones. Like, it's bad when it happens, and they're always lone shooters, and they always have a bunch of fucking ties and connections and weird fucking dealings and shit like that with fucking intelligence agencies, but then somehow magically those aren't ever considered or connected or concerned with, alright? It's fucking bullshit. It's obviously a rigged game, okay? They show you how many times it's rigged. When you go to Vegas, what do you do? You play rigged games, right? You know all the fucking games are going to take your money because the house always wins. Yet, what do we do when we go to Vegas, ladies and gentlemen? We decide to put our fucking dollar in a goddamn slot machine knowing it's going to eat that bitch. And trinkle back the little coins. It'll be, diddling, diddling, you're losing all your money. For fucking what? For fucking what? For that bitch to come over with those fake titties and fucking hand you a fucking watered down fucking Jack and Coke with no ice? Like, get the fuck out of here. Like, no, you don't want that shit, man. You want to keep that fucking dollar, man. Keep your dollar. Keep your fucking mind. Don't, like, what? That's what we're doing. I fucking hope when I give all my money to this politician this year that they do what they're gonna do. Bitch, I ain't never fucking gave not a single politician a fucking dime out of my pocket that they didn't fucking steal without my knowing, okay? They garnish it out my fucking wages. They'll garnish it out the fucking taxes and shit like that. You know, it's just like, they got inflation, so they're hitting me every year. They're like, yeah, you have to pay more taxes, but also we're going to give you a pay raise 1.5, but inflation's at 3%, so, like, you know, you still owe us more money, and we're giving you less to do it with. Buy Bitcoin. Like, what the fuck? Fuck you guys, man. Fuck them. Fuck them all, man. Fuck them all. Why should I feel fucking bad about fucking Elon Musk's dipshit ass fucking sending emails to Jeffrey Epstein? Like, why should I give a fuck about what his fucking credibility looks like? Why should I give a fuck about that guy's reputation? Why? He fucking swindled us out of a fucking $1 trillion. And we're nowhere fucking closer to solving any problems, yet we have a lot less fucking resources than we did a fucking couple of years ago. And we got some really fucking cool shots out of it too, you know what I mean? That fucking image of the rocket coming down. We're in the future, man. Give me your money. Like, this is a fucking stick up, okay? It costs a lot of money to stick your ass up. Now give me the fucking donation money, or I swear to God we're gonna shut your government down again. Like, what? Like, what? And stop asking about Epstein and his files, okay? You can't have them. But we'll give them to you. But stop asking questions about what you find in them, okay? Like, like you got them already. What more do you want? No, we're not going to convict anybody for any of this stuff. We're just going to hint and imply that they were all fucking involved in something, but only just enough to be like, hey, as soon as I found out, I didn't want anything else to do with the guy. That's a lot of fucking honest Joes up in there, because I'm pretty sure that these are all the same honest fucking Joes that just are so upright against this fucking horrible man of Epstein that still fucking pull off all these bullshit fucking policy changes and all these fucking, they're passing all the fucking bills still. All of these fucking bills and laws and policies are still saying that they're fucking you over. So they're either fucking you over on political shit because Jeffrey Epstein was fucking coercing them to, or they're just fucking you over because they really just don't give a shit about you. But either way, your ass was thought of fucking last when they woke up that morning to be like, who should benefit off of this tax bill? Who's going to benefit off of this buyout? Who's going to benefit off of this? Remember, Jeffrey told us himself, okay? Jeffrey told us his fucking self out of his own fucking mouth, right? And what did Jeffrey say? Well, let's ask Jeffrey what he said, because, you know, I don't like to paraphrase. And he says it pretty fucking good, you know what I mean? He's actually enjoying it at one point, you know what I mean?
They might decide to save your kidneys.
So let's see here. Where is he at? Where's the phone call at? Here it is, right here. Here's what they do, right?
Come together and they're pretty short, so I was actually going between two phones talking to Bear Stearns and JP Morgan at the same time. So I found it amusing.
And it never struck you about how to end up in a situation like this?
No, that would be
6x9 with a steel bed.
Let's hear that again.
Pass into a slot.
the question you want to ask is, who was the other call to?
Okay, who was the other call to?
The other call was to my friend at JP Morgan, who was then, I didn't know at the time, trying to buy Bear Stearns. So at one point...
You hear that? He owns Bear Stearns. He calls up the guys trying to buy out Bear Stearns. He's sitting there negotiating a deal so that way he still makes some money, knowing that it's going to get fucking bailed out anyways.
I had two phones. It was difficult because they're afraid people are going to hang themselves with a phone cord. So they don't actually come together and they're pretty short. So I was actually going between two phones talking to Bear Stearns and JP Morgan at the same time.
So, if you're not familiar with JP fucking Morgan, JP Morgan is the guy that... JP Morgan was fucking responsible for this whole fucking debacle in the first place. Now, I'm not going to say responsible, but he definitely played a very big pivotal role in fucking coercing a bunch of people. And I don't think it took a lot of coercing. You know what I mean? Let's look at this guy, right? This guy was gaining the attention of a Rockefeller, right? The Rockefeller was just like, that guy's interesting. Bring him over here. What do you think, interesting man? Okay? And then, same with Morgan, right? Morgan and co. Tell me, interesting man, what's the best way to go about buying your company so that way I can make the most money off of it? Well, it's funny you ask, Dick. like, get the fuck out of here. And let's remember, Morgans, Rockefellers, Now, these names didn't just so happen to be fucking popping up again over and over because they were responsible for instituting the Federal Reserve, which all this fucking money runs off of anyways, especially after fucking George Bush sat there and fucking was involved in the Bay of Pigs with the CIA with fucking Thomas Devine, and now we got a fucking petrol-backed dollar. Coinka-dink? I think fucking not. Think for your fucking self for 5 seconds. Obviously, if Bush was going to be going into the fucking CIA as a CIA director, and this is in 79, right? Let's get that fucking verified. Bush CIA director, right? Bush CIA director. Years. Boom. Just to be quick about it. What's that say? 1976 to 1977. What does that say? From January 1970 to just 10 days shy of 1 full year, right? So he served as director of intelligence for just 1 year? What? But why? And where was his qualifications leading up to that? Especially if he had no connection. Right? No connection, right? But so let's read this. George H.W. Bush served as Director of Central Intelligence, DCI, from January 30th, 1976 to January 20th, 1977, a tenure of 356 days. He was the 11th Director of the CIA and the only person to have held that position and later became U.S. President. His time as DCI came during a period of internal crisis for the agency, marked by investigations into domestic spying and low morale. I wasn't even born yet. So don't look at fucking me. I didn't write that. This is something that was going on back then in the fucking 70s, okay? What's also going on in the 70s? Now, this might be interesting. The microchip. Right? Pioneered by Jack Kilby and Robert Noyce in the late 1950s and 58, right? Now, that means that the microchip, oh, there we go. 1971, while working at Intel, Fagan led the development of the Intel 4004, the world's first commercial microprocessor, a single chip that contained the entire central processing unit of a computer. This innovation marked the beginning of the digital revolution, enabling the miniaturization of computing power and paving the way for personal computers, smartphones, and modern digital systems. Now, let's look at something else. I can't spell for shit. I'm very hot. I need a beverage. Okay, so the first mentions of AI integration emerged in the early days of artificial intelligence research, particularly when the development of systems designed to perform complex tasks traditionally requiring human expertise. A key milestone was James Slagle's SAINT, which is Symbolic Automatic Integrator, in 1961, 10 years before the microchip. And what did we just learn about the microchip? What it was going to be able to do? Right? Okay. Boom. Oh. That's weird. Boom. Right here. 1971 until 4004, first computer microprocessor, a single chip that contained the entire central processing unit of a CPU computer. This was achieved in 1971, right? So, 10 years before that, they start working on AI. You know what the biggest issue of AI is still today? Computing power. So what would be the best way to take the rudimentary computing power of the 1950s and 60s and evolve it into what we see today? Well, we get a microchip. Where did microchips come from? So let's look at that. I'm going to tell you, though, it was from nuclear technology. Jack Kilby of Texas Instruments invented the first microchip in 1958, demonstrating the first integrated circuit by integrating all components of an electric circuit into a single piece of semiconductor material, initially germanium, later silicon. His works at His work at Texas Instruments during the summer of 1958, while others were on vacation, led to a prototype. When you gotta put some stupid shit like that into your fucking description, that should tell you red flag, okay? His work at Texas Instruments during the summer of 1958, while others were on vacation, led to a prototype that minimalized the need for wiring in electronic devices. So you're telling me that Jack Kilby... All right, now let's get some more information on Jack, so that way you guys can see why this is kind of like bullshit, right? I spelled career wrong, I know. All right, so Jack Kilby was an electrical engineer best known for inventing the monolithic integrated circuit, or the microchip, in 1958. Right? So early career, after earning a bachelor's in electrical engineering from the University of Illinois and a master's from the University of Wisconsin, Kilby began his professional journey at Central Lab, a division of Globe Union, where he developed ceramic-based silkscreen circuits for consumer electronics and military applications. Then Texas Instruments, right? So he went from one company that was, DoD funded, right? They got contracts. So let's look at Central Lab. Excuse me. Let's see if we can find anything. Government shutdown ended. Thank the Lord. Okay, so this is former Central Region Commander, reflects on agency tenure, blah, 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 blah. Does not seem relevant. Pricing and contracting, acquisition policy. In the interest of enhancing the performance of contracted personnel throughout the department, this memorandum forwards to the FY 2025 year review newsletter for the Procurement Management Review Program. This annual result shares observations, best practices, and lessons learned gathered by the Defense Contract Management Agency during independent reviews of the procurement function of other defense agencies and defense field activities. This memorandum announces the initial release of Department's Revolutionary Fire Overhaul RFO Phase 1. Interesting. Anyways, that is very interesting though. So essentially leading up to, let me just give you a quick run back. The microchip right here. So before the invention of the microchip, there was this thing known as Moore's Law, and it was essentially it was essentially capping at one point. Like, it was supposed to be that, technology doubles every year, and then eventually it just stopped doing that. All right, they reached a cap at the amount that it can advance, because there was just so much they can do with these processors at the time. And then Jack Kilby comes around in 1958, and he comes up with this germanium, right? It's made out of germanium, later known as silicon, but he essentially makes it, right? He comes up with this idea for it while everybody else is away on vacation, right? Now, I just find it interesting because usually when people start talking about like they came up with this wonderful idea while people were on vacation or they were all away or nobody was around or anything like that, I mean, usually, I'm not saying always. Definitely won't say always. But I will say usually. Usually that indicates something, all right? But I don't know. It's too messy. It's too messy and tangled, and I have a very fucking hard time organizing my own thoughts, let alone these ones. But these are just the things that I'm noticing that just don't fucking line up, and I'm pretty sure I'm just going to say it. I'm pretty sure George W. Bush not only had a hand in the Bay of Pigs because, like, you think about it this way. Let me see if I can find that shit on the Bay of Pigs. Actually, let's see if I can find. Here's Northwoods, Stock 7. What is this one on? This is on the Chilean president visit to the U.S. This is a memorandum. Here, let me show you what I'm looking at here. So I like to when I find these PDFs of these scans, these confidential fucking declassified scans, you know. And what's interesting about these ones is that I'll find a lot that these are on the National Archive, by the way. That aren't, see, this is how it's supposed to be. I'm just gonna fucking say this right now, okay? Government, do you see how this works? Name withheld to protect privacy. Name withheld to protect privacy. Everything else is filled in. I should be able to look at every fucking last nitty gritty discussed in detail. Not found. Where'd it go? The fuck? What was I looking at? Bay Pigs, Cuba. That's wild. No, this is not it. Huh. Let's see here. I know. I'm like reading. My bad. I'm like reading and going through this as I actually sometimes forget that I'll like actually be doing something. My bad. It was just very very fucking interesting. Um, this part right here. So, saying for a 79-day period ending in July, the anti-Japan uh, Jagan Trades Union Congress maintained a general strike, which was directed against the Jagan regime and had wide support among agrarian and industrial workers. CIA worked out with George Meany a program of CIA financial support for $435,000. Now, when was this from? 63. So, what's $435,000 in 1963? $4,516,058 in 2025 when adjusted for inflation. We have to do 2026 actually. Seeing as how, inflation went up this year. So, 4,608,000. It's a lot of fucking money. 4 million buckaroos is what that was saying. So that's $4 million right there. So you have to consider back then $100,000 was $1 million. That's about what that's equating to in the 60s. $100,000 is $1 million bucks back then. It's a lot of money, and they gave 4 of those millions away to the strike under the cover of AFL-CIO contributions. A CIA cover representative ran the strike program. Well, fuck. So, and this is in 1963. September 10th, 1963 is when this memorandum for the file was at, but this is when it was filed, right? Or when it was written up for the file. The strike activity took place against a background of agreement between President Kennedy and Macmillan that the British will not pull out of Guyana for an what does that say? Indefinite future period. In the hopes that the communist government will not fill the vacuum with the British when the British do withdraw. Cuban influence in the strike was in the form of a $1 million advance from Cuba to the Guyana Import-Export Corporation. Soviet help was indicated by a rumored transfer of over $100,000 through banks. How much is $1 million in 1963? Jesus fucking Christ. I should have known better. But, yeah. About $10.6 million. $10,592,222.22 in 2016. Alright? It's a lot of fucking money. It's a lot of money. It's a lot of money. Right? Back then. That actually makes me wonder. What was their spending budget? Jesus fucking Christ. Jesus Christ. The Central Intelligence Agency's budget for 1963 was $550 million, equivalent to approximately $5.6 billion in 2024 dollars. See? This motherfucker. Ooh, shit, 2016, my dumbass. You can tell what year I'm in. You can tell what year I died. The Central Intelligence Agency's CIA budget for 1963 was $550 million. Adjusted for inflation, this amount is equivalent to approximately $5.6 billion in 2024 dollars. See, it keeps giving me 2024 dollars. The equivalent amount in 26 would be slightly higher than 2024 at 5.8 bill. 5.8 bills. 6.3 and how. So, let me read this first. All right, so the U.S. federal government estimated budget receipts for fiscal year 1963 were $93.0 billion based on expectations for continued economic recovery as a projected gross national product of $570 billion for the calendar of 1962. This represented an increase in $10.9 billion from the previous fiscal year. Budget expenditures were projected at $92.5 billion, resulting in a modest surplus of about $500 million in the administrative budget. It's a lot of fucking money. Receipts from the public were estimated at $116.6 billion and payments at $114.8 billion, yielding a $1.8 billion surplus. Using national income accounting methods, the federal surplus was estimated at $4.4 billion. Many years was Operation Mockingbird in effect at this time? How many years is Operation Mockingbird in effect at this time? That's a good question. Thank you. I appreciate that. Oh, you're more than welcome. So, Project Mockingbird was active from March 12th, 1963 to June 15th of 1963, lasting approximately 3 months. It was a CIA wiretapping operation. That's bullshit. That's bullshit. I call bullshit on that, Brave. That's such bullshit. I'm gonna ask Perplexity using GPT 5.2 thinking. How long did Operation Mockingbird go for? When did it start and when did it get realized and when did it stop? You see that? I always like to look for these right here. These little PDFs. Eyes only. Ooh, boy. Ooh, boy. Hey, if you don't got eyes, if you do not have eyes, leave. Okay? This is for eyes only, okay? Eyes only. You ready for this? Okay, subject, Project Mockingbird. Routine review of the daily syndicated column of newsmen Robert S. Allen and Paul J. Scott in early 1962 developed indications that classified information, sometimes code word material, was being utilized as a basis of high percentage of their columns. Although much of the information contained in the columns was garbled, it was apparent that key points were frequently direct quotes from classified reports and summaries of recent vintage. The Director of Security received a requirement from the DCI in March of 1962 to attempt a thorough, appropriate investigative activity to determine, if possible, the identities of the source or sources of classified information to the two newsmen. It was recommended to the DCI that telephonic monitoring would be the most productive. In addition, certain investigation limited to discrete checks of record sources was recommended. With approval of the DCI, around-the-clock telephone monitoring was conducted of the telephone lines to each of the newsmen's homes and the offices in which they shared jointly. Okay. The activity was continued until mid-June 1962, at which the end of the telephonic coverage was discontinued to coincide with the retirement of the Director of Security. Knowledge of the activity beyond the limited few of the office security directly involved in processing and the acquired data is indicated as being limited to the DCI, the DDCI, blah, blah, blah. I'm going to have to read more on this in a moment here. So I'm seeing that this was released on the 14th of January, 2020. I need to see when this was written up, though. Just because it was fucking released in 2020 don't mean shit. Because honestly, there was no indication beyond eyes only. I mean, this is definitely it, though. This is definitely the full fucking document. At least, I think it is. The original documents are located in Box 3 under ORIVFF Project Mockingbird, telephone tap, newspaper columnist of the President's Commission on Central Intelligence Agency Activities within the United States, files at the Gerald R. Ford Presidential Library. Confidential notice. So this seems like, if this is it, yeah, this is definitely it. And this is the full thing. 10/29/2010 is when this was declassified. It was released in 2020. Right? At least that's what this is. So this is off of the CIA website. Approved for release 2020, January 14th. So the CIA approved it for release in 2020. However, it was declassified as amended SEC 3.3 7910 NARA date 10/29/10. So 2010, a decade prior, right? But look at this. 1975, 12 February 1975. So this folder releases. So this is the folder. This was the memorandum that's obviously stapled to the front of the folder. It's a little card that's stapled to the front of the folder. And on that card, it says memorandum for Mr. David W. Berlin, Commission on CIA Activities within the United States. This folder relates in part to question number 4 in your letter of January 1975. E.H. Knock, Assistant to the Director, CIA, folder Project Mockingbird. Interesting. Very, very interesting. So let's see what Perplexity has to say about that. There isn't a fully documented Operation Mockingbird with clear official start-stop dates. The name most often refers to an alleged CIA media influence effort discussed as beginning in the early Cold War and becoming publicly understood through 1967 through 1977. Disclosures and investigations, a separate documented CIA activity called Project Mockingbird, did have firm dates. March 12, 1963 to June 15th, 1963. So that's what that's talking about. So I got a little bit of a clarification on that. So this is also do that one. Let's look at this one first. CIA's use of journalists and clergy in intelligence operations. Okay, so this is before the Select Committee on Intelligence of the United States Senate, 104th Congress, second session on CIA's use of journalists and clergy in intelligence operations, dated Wednesday, July 17th, 1996. Printed for the use of the Select Committee on Intelligence. So this one right here looks like this one is probably just another drill, guys. Okay? Probably just another drill. Um no, but in all seriousness, this one is looking closer to being what it is that is known about in mainstream media, right? Now, this one actually strikes me as interesting. This is Operation Mockingbird, right? So apparently, at one point or another, these two news journalists started like making news columns about like random shit, but in between the random shit was like information that was like extremely sensitive to the CIA. And they're like, what the fuck is going on here? How did this happen? Let's find out who the fuck is doing this and why. And so I guess their idea, our source does not remember whether the text in whole or in part appeared in the Scott Allen column, but offered the information that the Northern Virginia Sun, the only local paper carrying the column, often dropped the column from the issue, presumably for editorial or policy reasons. This is the only definitive link of information from the White House of which our source had knowledge. However, he believes that information may also have past Scott material known only as the Rostov. Does it say Rostov? The Rostov papers. Our source could not locate any of this information in Scott Allen's columns, but gathered from discussions between Scott and Allen that the information had been published and that Mr. Rostow was furious about it. According to our source, the information in the White House was the informant in the White House was Mr. William P. Connors, who in May of 1963 was a clerk in the White House file room. A credit inquiry made in 1962 was reviewed by this agency and confirmed his employment by the White House at the time. Recent discreet inquiries revealed that he is currently employed in the press release section. Mr. Connors, his wife Jean, and Redacted currently reside at Redacted. One additional blank bit of poignant bit of additional poignant bit of information provided by our source relates to a conversation he overheard between Scott and O'Connor's wife, Jean, in connection with Sorensen text. Miss O'Connor told Scott that she hoped her husband had not brought the text into their home and that she had thrown it out. She went on to say that, if I kept all he brought home, it would look like the trash room of the White House. Scott and Allen parted, and Allen added retirement UPI reporter. Shit, man. It's fucking wild. Confidential source known reliably on May 20th, 1963 advised that the 350... What the fuck? Columnist Paul J. Scott briefed Colonel Robert S. Allen, his co-author of the Allen Scott Report syndicated column, his efforts to obtain material from the White House. According to informant, Scott told Colonel Allen that he was attempting to obtain the text of a presentation delivered at Columbia University by Theodore Sorensen of the presidential staff. Scott indicated that Sorensen contemplated using the text of the presentation for at least 2 newspaper columns to be printed in the near future by the Washington Star and other newspapers. Scott indicated that he would like to put the text into the Scott Allen report prior to the appearance of the same information in the Sorensen columns. Colonel Allen indicated he would be delighted to jump the gun on Sorensen and send the column out as a weekend special. That would make a hell of a good story, he told Scott. Scott explained to Colonel Allen that his friend of mine, who's right down there, had called Sorensen's office on 2 occasions for a copy of the speech, but had been told that the only copies of it are in Columbia University. Scott indicated that he believed this to be a dodge because of the contemplated publication of the Sorensen speeches in newspaper form. Scott indicated that his source had told Sorensen's office, "We've got to have one for the file room." And Sorensen's office agreed to send a copy to the source. Scott indicated he had spoken to his source about the matter over the weekend and that his source would check on it that day and advise Scott that evening. The foregoing exchange explained a conversation previously noted by the informant on 17 May 1963. Informant advised that on 17 May 1963, Paul J. Scott had a conversation with Mrs. Jean Connors, who resided at blank. Scott asked Mrs. Connors if... I'm trying to read this shit. It's fucking dry. I'm telling you, this is the driest shit. So, essentially, this dude, like, worked at the fucking White House at one point. So, he had information. He was, like, fucking bringing that shit home and everything. And then he was using it in newspapers and whatnot. And something. I don't know. And they were trying to figure out who this guy was. And then they figured out who the guy was. And then they were just spying on him or some shit. But I could be totally fucking wrong, right? I don't know how fucking deep it goes. I'd have to sit here and read it, right? And I'm going to keep it a buck. It'll take fucking forever to sit here and fucking read this on the internet, so I'm not going to. You see, I'm obviously not a fun read, so, like, let's keep it a buck. Let's not kill each other. Let's not do it. Let's not do it to ourselves. You won't like it. I won't like it. We won't like it. Fucking boring as shit. I get that shit. It's just wild. You know what I mean? Frank Church holds CIA poison dart gun at committee hearing with Vice Chairman John Tower on September 17th, 1975. It's just like this is old. Remember that. This is old. 75. Right? Who knows what DARPA's doing right now? Shit, man. Who knows what they're doing right now? I'm pretty sure DARPA is the other guy that watches these videos. You know, it's just like, I know who 50% of my audience is. For sure, you know what I mean? They're like, who the fuck is this guy? Or maybe, sometimes I'd be wondering, it's just like, what if the ultimate op has already been opted out? You know what I mean? Like, how do we know? What do we know that where's the top at? You know what I mean? Like, where's, like, like we know, right? You know, if you didn't, that these were theorized back in like the 1800s, and that these have been used since like a long time ago. It's been a while. There's a difference between when we get shit and when they create the shit. You know what I mean? That's what all these DoD contracts and shit's all about. You need to get the contract from the government to make the thing. The government wants the thing. They take it and then they test it. They see if it's good or not. If it's good, like, well, depending on how good, like, you know, depend on, like, if it has military applications, they'll use it for all the military applications and get everything they can out of it. And if there's any consumer applications after the fact, they'll be like, okay, well, how can we spend this and use it on our people? And then they do. All right, they've been doing this since, like, and it started way back in the day with our food. They're like, how can we make a substance that people can put into their mouths that will give them the energy to continue to fight our wars for us, and it won't spoil, so we don't have to fucking sit there and use a lot of resources to make it. We can make really cheap food for these fuckers, right? Never considered the long-term effects. They just let the things do what the fuck they do. Now, everybody's sick. Everybody's ill. Everybody's sore and depressed and anxious and irritable and, you know, all these fucking problems. You know what I see? You know what the difference is between... I ain't gonna say that. Never mind. Never mind. I have to remember that I'm a rare case, so I have to hold back on that. It's very different. I have a very different perspective on life because I've walked a very different life. But you know what I mean? It's just like there's people out there that know where people like us come from, but not really. Not on this level. You know what I mean? It's just like when you're dealing with what I'm dealing with, you think about everything, and you think about everything in many different ways. Maybe one day y'all understand. Who knows? But I feel like it takes time. You know what I mean? It's like it took me a long time. You know, it didn't start hitting me until I was 25. You know, it hit me the hardest when I was 25. Well, I was 25 years old. All right, and I've already lived a quarter of a century. I've lived for a quarter of a century. There are people that get sentenced to this much time or more, right? That'll never be able to live the life that I lived, even as fucking horrible as it was up to that point. I lived an awful life. I mean, I feel like anybody that says I had a good life, define good. Because by, like, you know, societal standards, nah, man, I don't see nobody that's had a good life. I've seen a lot of people that had a fake life. They've had like an illusion of life. Some people had life, but a lot of us have had a lot of struggles and a lot of hardships. You know what I mean? It's just like, and we use like the good parts of life to like those very rare, seldom few moments. We use them as like moments to cherish, and those, like, we cherish those moments, those very rare few moments, because we know how fucking hard it is for them to come around, because once they've passed, it's horrible again, right? Now there's some people out there where it's reversed, right? They live that happy moment all their fucking lives, and every once in a while, after living that wonderful, happy moment, they're like, oh man, I'm fucking bored doing all this fucking happy shit. It makes me fucking miserable all the time. There's nothing to do. I'm bored. And then they start doing horrible shit. And after they do horrible shit, they feel good about themselves again. They're like, oh, now I can do some of this happy shit. Now this stuff feels a little more worthwhile, you know? That's how they do it. They do horrible shit by fucking, assassinating people and lying about people and deceiving people and corrupting people and honestly, I say assassinated, like, cause I like a little bit of the what is it called? Shakespearean, assassination. So theatrical. No, he was fucking murdered. These people are fucking murdered. These people didn't die. These people were killed. These people didn't have accidents. These people had intentionals. And every fucking day, it just seems like a little bit more evidence of that continues to thread. Because you'd think that after, like, I don't know, the first time, the second time, the third time, the fourth time, the fifth time that they fucking got caught lying, just straight fucking bullshit fabrication. Well, perhaps we can have a little bit of accountability. It's like this. I get we're not fucking perfect, right? But my blood's older than yours on this soil. And I can say that for a lot of these motherfuckers that are sitting here with a lot of fucking money and power right now. Quite a few of them. I don't give a fuck how old they are. My blood is older on this soil. And I know that my blood is older on a lot of different fucking soils. I know that my blood goes way fucking back on a lot of different soils. But you know what else that I don't see? I don't see me using that as any fucking justification to go around taking what's not mine. I'm just fucking happy enough to share what plenty I got. But these motherfuckers seem to not have enough. You have plenty of fucking money to sit here and build a ballroom for fucking foreign dignitaries. But you don't got no money in that there pocket of charity for that there for yourself to go on and give back to the fucking... Like, honestly, it's like this. If you fucking shoveled out a fucking stimulus check to every actual fucking American in the goddamn country... Right? If you ran them stimmy checks back and been like, my bad for the government always fucking you, we're at least going to start fucking, at least if you're going to fuck us, like, dish us back some fucking, some dividends on this shit. We invested in this fucking country. Push back some fucking dividends. If you're going to fucking go invade a country and let us take the fucking slack for it, let us have the stress for it, let us do the fucking stupid protest and deal with the fucking deportation and the fucking files. If you want us to fucking deal with this shit, that's fucking fine. We'll take it like fucking Americans with their bootstraps the fuck up. But goddamn it, slide us a fucking check because I'm pretty sure this is capitalism. I don't do this shit for fucking free. You sure as hell don't. None of these motherfuckers that are sitting here fucking us up are getting that shit done for fucking free. They expect you to fuck yourself for free. Fuck that, man. Fuck that. I say no. I say no to that. You know what I say? I say, how about we utilize that due process that you guys are so diligent with, right? They love, because, we all know that the government always fucking wins, man. They make it hard for every fucking buddy. Shit, man. I mean, look what they're doing with fucking, with the Federal public defenders a fucking same bracket as fucking as the rest of the Department of Justice, as fucking all the rest of them. So you're saying that the people, the only fuckers in government that actually have to sit here and fucking have a chance to that defend us, those guys also get lumped in? Like, come on, no way. No way. That's the goal right there. That's the mission right there. That was the op. The op was be like, okay, let's take away these guys' fucking civil liberties and protections. Let's cut out fucking federal public defending. Fine, man. Fucking cut all that ICE shit, all that shit. Shut all that shit the fuck down. That's not your fucking job, dickwads. Your job is to establish this is the Constitution, okay? This is what we do, right? The Constitution. You take that Constitution, right? And that's all you fucking worry about. All right? Your job isn't the fucking Federal Reserve, okay? Our job isn't dealing with fucking oil or all that shit. No, that's not our fucking job, government. That's not your job. That's our job. Let us Americans deal with that. We'll deal with that. You know, if an American wants to go out there and deal with that shit, we'll fucking figure some shit out. That's not government's fucking job. If we got a problem, if we can't sit here and have a good conversation and do what our democracy tells us we're supposed to do, if they're spitting in our face and they're raising up them spears, like, oh shit, all right, hey, don't kill me. We got a big fucking military, okay, and we'll fuck you up, okay. That you could do it like that. That make a lot more sense. Like, hey, we'd like to come in here and take your oil and hold one of your guys hostage. Who cares what his position is? All right, you went into a different country and took somebody against their will and without anybody's permission. Nobody said it was okay. We had no jurisdiction out there, okay? Like, what? That's not okay. That's not okay, guys. That's not okay for Americans, especially if we're not getting a fucking kickback. Like, come on now. Like, you're telling me you guys are going to fucking sit here and steal a fucking country that's filled to the fucking brim with oil and still raise our goddamn gas prices? Like, come on now, fuck you. No, fuck you, sir. Fuck you. I will not take that bullshit. That is not okay. No way, man. No fucking way. No. That's not gonna happen. Not here. Bullshit, man. Like, here's the thing for me. Because, once again, I'm just gonna point out the fucking bullshit in it. Right? Just at what point point's Jesus supposed to step in and be like, hey man, we shouldn't be fucking, because I'm pretty sure the guy, I mean, in God we trust. Okay, I trust the guy. I'll trust him. But which God are y'all talking about? Because goddamn, like, what the fuck? Like, this shit is fucking crazy. Like, probably not. I don't trust y'all God anymore. Like, whatever God y'all trust on that dollar bill, I don't trust that guy no more because, like, well, honestly, I never fucking did. Like, honestly, I feel like if he's all powerful, does he need money? Well, let's remember the first part there. All powerful. All powerful means he can take nothing and create something, right? If he can create something from nothing, what the fuck does he need money for? Like, he could create his own money. He'd be like, there, I just destabilized your dollar. Now it's useless again. Figure it out. Like, what? Like, no, man. No. There's only one person who needs to rely on you to give them something for them to feel like they can wow you with something. Kada say, he know the Bible too. Just saying. Just saying. Y'all motherfuckers have lost your goddamn mind. Just saying. Just saying. I know that, not everybody on the planet gets created equal. All right. But I also didn't realize how many people on the planet were just like that unequal. Like, because, people, they measure equality in different realms, right? Equal. What is that? What does it mean to be equal, right? Like, depends on what's the first fucking thing that popped into your head. What is equal, right? For me, equal means that, like, we both have the same opportunities, right? That means that, right, if you can create a complex, detailed fucking painting and it's like fucking 3-dimensional, and like when you look at it, the painting looks like it's looking back at you every fucking time, right? My brain says if we were equal, I can look at what you did and be like, that's fucking dope. Let me try. And then do it exactly the fucking same. Right? No, well, I mean, no. That's not fucking equal. No, man. See, I fucks with Einstein because he said something. This is probably the smartest thing that motherfucker said. And that was, you can't judge a fish's ability, or a fish's intelligence by his ability to climb a tree. All right? So essentially, if a fish is trying to climb a fucking tree and it's failing and struggling and it's not able to get up there because it can't fucking breathe, and it's like, well, you're going to be like, this fish is a fucking idiot. It can't even get up there, right? No, you're going to be like, well, obviously the fish wasn't designed to fucking climb trees. If you were smart, you'd be like, the fish doesn't climb trees. The fish swims, right? So you have to be sure when you're, like I said, there's a lot of people out there who are supposed to be very, 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 very smart. If intelligence has taught me one thing, it's that the fucking more you know, the more you don't fucking know shit. And the more somebody tries to fucking tell you that they fucking know, oh, I know everything. Oh, I could tell you all about that. Oh, I know exactly what's going on there. That's the first fucking time you gotta be like, bull fucking shit. All right, man. I mean, I get told it all the time. People tell me all the time. They're like, "You're so smart. You're very intelligent. You're extremely intelligent." I'm like, "No, I'm not. I'm a stupid man. A stupid man. Me no thinky with brain. I like Capri Sun juice." Right? No, man, I'm a fucking dumbass man. No, I'm not. I don't think I'm intelligent. I don't think I'm intelligent. And the reason why I know that I'm not intelligent is because, you can't measure it, right? You can't just be like, oh, he's intelligent. You can probably, what you can say is that I understand things very, very easily about a lot of things very quickly. I'm very understanding, but I'm not intelligent. You know what I mean? Like, there's people out there who have far higher intelligence. You know what I mean? There's people that understand things far better than I do. You know what I mean? And that's probably why they're up on far higher levels than I am. But at the same time, see, here's how my intelligence works. See, I have no ambition, right? So one day when I was a kid, I was just so, like, cause I had this realization when I was like 5, maybe 6. I think I was 5 though. I can't remember. I was either preschool or kindergarten, one of the two. But I remember I woke up that morning and I was exhausted. I was just tired. I don't know why. My body, I was just tired. I couldn't sleep. I couldn't sleep well. My mind was racing the entire night. I had an intense fucking dream. I had the wildest fucking dream that I have ever had in my entire life, that even to this day it still fucks with me, right? It still fucks with me deep. Real fucking deep, because it was one of the most, it was like when I dream, it's very, very, very intense. And it's usually so intense that my mind blocks that shit out. Like it'll be like I'll know that I dreamed, but I won't remember a lot of the details about what I was dreaming about. But like apparently like I'm in them, because like I'll be waking up and I'm like, oh fuck, like I'm like in a panic. I'm like in like this fucking like this mode. I'm like, oh shit, man. Like, and I'm usually like when I wake up, I'm extremely disorientated. Like it's very, very weird. So it's just like you gotta be very careful. You're like, all right, take a step back. But one thing that I do recall in these dreams is like, so it'll be fucking wild, right? This dream was fucking wild. So in the dream, I'm laying down in my bed, right? I'm laying down on my bed, and like it's like a POV. Like I'm just like I'm me laying down on my bed. I'm laying down on my sleep. And like I open my eyes and I can't move. I'm like paralyzed. I can't move. I'm like in this paralysis state, right? So I'm sitting there. I can't breathe. I can't move. And and I'm scared. And I'm scared because I can't move. But like I feel like I'm like, oh shit, like maybe this is like, maybe I'll just go back to sleep. So I'll just sit here and I'll wait until I fall back asleep, because I'm like hoping to fucking God that like I catch my breath again, because I can't breathe, right? Or at least I don't think I can breathe. I'm not realizing that I'm asleep, right? This is in the dream. Remember, this is in the dream. And then I like start rising, like I feel like out of nowhere it's like a type of thing, like it's just like a wave over me, and then like after the wave I'm just like very, very light, and I feel myself rising, right? And I'm able to like look around. I can't move. I'm still paralyzed, but I'm able to like look around, like use my eyes and like scan and shit like that. And what I'm looking at, it takes me a minute to realize it because it's dark. It's like dark in my room, and there's just the light coming in from the window. Um, but I realize that I'm looking at myself, right? And I start floating up, like away, right? So I'm just like going away from myself. And I remember like I'm like coming out of my room, and then like I phase through the roof, right? So I'm in my room, and then I'm like out and I'm like on the roof, and I'm like still going out, like I'm like zooming out like away from my house, and it's like getting like further and further and further and further and further and further away from me on my view type shit, right? I'm going out. And eventually I'm like really, really, really high up. And what's wild is the fact that like even though I can't move or anything like that, like up to this point I feel like I can feel like the breeze, right? Like of like me like moving, but I don't feel cold. I don't feel hot. I don't feel cold. I don't feel anything. It's just like, and you just feel it, but you feel like that feeling of like I'm moving, right? And then it gets to a point where like I'm going through the clouds and everything, and I'm feeling like the moisture trickle on my ears and shit like that, or whatever, you know what I mean? Like I'm feeling it, but like I'm not, like it's not real, right? It's in my head, like it has to be. It's in my fucking head. I'm sleeping, so it has to not be real, right? It's obviously a fucking dream, but it feels so real. It's so fucking real that like even to this day, like when I'm sitting in the shower in the morning, or like if I get like like when the wind hits, like I have this weird thing about wind. I'm actually like, I really don't fuck with the wind. I really don't fuck with the wind at all. But at the same time, it's like I need it. I need to feel it. Like I hate the feeling of it, but at the same time, I love the feeling of it. It's this weird thing. But so I get through the cloud, right? I go through the cloud, and then like it it's like this muffled sound, or it's just like boom, and it's like everything's like muffled, right? Like my ears are filled up or whatever, and like I got like not like headphones, but like earplugs in, like my ears are plugged, right? Like you know, like when you're like going through the mountains and the elevation is going up and your ears are popping, and it's like that it's that feeling of right before your ears pop, right? And it's like all over the place. That's what it sounds like. It's not, I don't feel that, but that's what it sounds like, right? It's like that sound that you get in your ear or whatever. It's hard to explain. That's the best I can explain it. And I can still see now at this point, I can see like a large scape of the land, right? I can see a lot of it. I can see a lot of it. And then I keep going out, and I keep going out, and I keep going out, and then eventually, and it starts to like warp, and then it's like the earth, and then like I'm going through, and I'm going past, and I'm going through space, and it's like I'm like seeing things, like right, I'm like seeing stars and shit as this planet's getting further, like well, it's not like stars, like I'm seeing like debris, I guess it would be like debris, and like these fucking like these weird ass like pulsations of like color, and like it's I would have to try to find something to like e- to like describe it, you know what I mean? I'll find something to try to describe it, but um it was really intense, right? I'm obviously not in my bed anymore. I'm not obviously not in my house anymore. I'm obviously not on my planet anymore, and I'm just going through, right? And it eventually, like, I can't see the earth anymore. It's like gone. And then eventually I'm not seeing stars anymore. I'm not seeing anything anymore. Eventually everything's just like following back into like it's like going, and it's like going, and then eventually I'm seeing like the edges of everything, and it's like dropping, and it's like dropping, and it's like dropping, and it's like dropping, until finally like everything comes up into like a focal point, like all the lights and everything, like it's just, and it's not because it's like they're not collapsing, it's just getting further away. So as it's getting further away, it's looking like it's all collapsing into like this tiny little dot, right? It's like a little dot, and then eventually the light disappears, and it's just dark, and it's just like, well, I mean, it's not dark, it's just not, there's no light anymore. It's just like forever, and I'm still feeling that sensation of like a breeze, like I'm like I'm being propelled type shit, like I'm moving, right? And when at this point, like at this point, there's nothing in front of me. I don't see anything in front of me. It's pure black, right? And it's still that sound everywhere. And then like I'm like, well, where the fuck am I going, right? So I turn around. I try to like turn around, like to like see which, because I'm feeling it on, I've only felt it on the back of my neck and my head type shit, because this is really all I feel. I don't feel anything else. I don't feel my body. I don't feel anything. I literally just feel my eyes, like this of my eyes, right, because like you still see all this, like all the parts of my eyes that you can see, like all this, I can feel that, right? I can feel all here, I can feel this all up down my neck and everything, all of this I can still feel, right? And I was just moving, and when I went to turn around, it was just bright, bright, bright light. And it was super, super bright. And then, like, I was opening my eyes, and it was morning time, and the sun is glistening in from the window, like right above my bed. Like I'm in my bed again, and I'm sitting there, and I'm looking at the sunlight hit me and everything. And then my mom is coming in the room, and she's telling me, you know, she's like, get up, you know, you're gonna be late for school, you're gonna be late for school, you're gonna be late for school, blah blah blah. She keeps trying to get me up, and I'm just sitting there, and I'm just like, what the fuck just happened? Like where the fuck am I? Like, what am I doing here? And I started asking myself these questions in my bed. I'm just sitting here, and like, I was just sitting here thinking, and I'm asking these questions, and then like she tells me I'm a procrastinator. She says, "Stop procrastinating." That's what she says. She comes in, she's like, "Stop procrastinating." Close the door again. Stop procrastinating. Because my mom was a very, very tough lady, but I love her. So yeah, she was, you're procrastinating, blah blah blah. And so I'm sitting here, and it's like, it was like procrastinating. And this is the first word. I will never forget this word for the rest of my life. It's the first time I ever heard a word that was like that. You know what I mean? Like a multi-compound, multi-syllabic word like that. Like it was a lot. It was a big word. I was like, procrastinating. What is that? Like, what's procrastinating? Like, I was trying to figure it out, and I'm sitting here thinking about the word. And then I'm thinking about words, and I'm just like, as like, like I'm sitting here and I'm like thinking, I'm just like, who the fuck came up with this shit? Like, why am I speaking this? Like, why do I think in this? You know what I mean? Like, it was weird. It was really, really weird. And ever since then, I was just like, I've been thinking about shit differently. I just think about shit off, weird, different. So that's why when like I hear about shit and people are talking about like multiple dimensions, like multiple universes, many worlds theory type thing, like I don't think that any of that stuff is entirely bullshit. I feel like there's a lot of that stuff that's, sort of kind of accurate, especially based off of my own experiences with dreams, because since then, right, since that dream, I had many different, very strange, interesting dreams, right? And even before that, but that was like the dreams I was having before were different. That dream was the one. I think that was one of the most intense dreams that I've ever had, right? I've had very vivid dreams. I've had very super real, like very, very vivid dreams where like it was like I ran through a whole day, right? Like it was like a whole day where I was doing my thing. And then I woke up and then I realized that day hadn't happened yet. And then I was running through that day that I just dreamed about. You know what I mean? It'd be wild, but like, you know, that's why I kind of think of that stuff like when it comes to that side of, the human psyche and whatnot. These motherfuckers were just as interested in that shit as I am, but I was for a long time I was afraid of that shit. It terrified me. It terrified the shit out of me because I was afraid to go to sleep, and I had really hard issues sleeping. But it was just like, I mean, and there's a lot of other fucking things that were going on at that point in my life that were also making sleeping hard. But it was like that. But then again, there was a lot of fucking shit going on in my early 20s that was making sleeping hard. But one of the things that made it just slightly discouraging was like at any given moment, I never knew when it was going to happen. There's going to be an off chance that I was going to have a nightmare. You know what I mean? Like, and I was having a lot of nightmares because a lot of bad shit was happening. I was in a lot of really bad accidents, and I got hurt, and it was very bad. I got really fucking hurt, and it was very, very difficult coping with that and coming to terms with the fact that it happened the way it happened, and that I had very bad dreams about it. And when I have dreams, they're very vivid. And when I have dreams and I fall asleep and then I wake back up, or like if I go to sleep and then I wake up, right, and then I go back to sleep, I go back into the dream, right, and it'll either be I go back into the dream at the very beginning, so now I'm going back through every iteration that I just went through, and sometimes the details are a little different, but the details are only different on like second and third iterations because they're becoming more fine. I'm realizing more things each time I come in, which means that my brain is subconsciously pulling more shit into it. You know what I mean? Because it's got, you know, but that's what the dreams are very fucking interesting. But a lot of dreams that I have, especially lately, I don't recollect. Like I'll be completely blacked out in them. So it's just like that. I don't know what's going on with that, but then again, the area in which I reside, testing, sampling, focus groups, whatever the hell you want to call them, experimentations on unwitting individuals is, this is the, I think that this is the place where it happens. You know what I mean? This is the place where a lot of it happens. A lot of dirt can get done here without anybody ever knowing, and anybody ever batting a question, because the people that are supposed to be like uncovering that dirt hold the shovels. You can do a lot with a shovel, quite a bit, but what are we gonna do? What are we gonna do? Panic? We can't do that. We can't do that. So we'll have to figure something out. But who knows what it is? I don't know. But it's getting around that time, folks. You know what I mean? It's getting around that time. This one wasn't probably nearly as interesting as yesterday. You know what I mean? Honestly, I just lost a lot of faith in humanity, man. I'm losing a lot of faith in humanity. Just because, like, come on, man. It can't be this bad. It can't. It can't be this bad. It just really can't. But it is. And it's been this bad because we've been so fucking ignorant, and every time we want to think about it, we're like, no, I don't want to think about this. Think about something else. But we can't anymore. My girl been telling me I need to eat more and stuff, because I've been losing a lot of weight. Like a lot of weight. But in honesty, I mean, I'm terrified. I'm scared to put shit in my fucking body. I'm scared. I'm terrified to eat this shit. It scares me to eat this shit. Fuck else what other options I got? What other options? They make it impossible for everybody. And then have everybody arguing between the two of them on which one's worse. You're both bad. But what are you gonna do? Look at history. History has always consistently been about power and control of power. Yeah, I need to get out of here. I'm hungry. I'm resorting to my emergency snacks. I need to put something in my gullet before my lady gets home because she'll beat my ass if I don't eat. So, no, she won't. She won't. There's no domestics happening over here. She won't beat me up if I don't eat, but, you know, she definitely won't be happy. She'll be like, you know, stressed out and stuff, and I don't want that. Last thing I want to do is, you know, good people. Like I said, when you have good people in your life, last thing those are the people that you want to fight the hardest for. I'm sitting here getting all hot, spicy. For what? What's always been happening? Deceptions, lies, just flat out murder. It breaks my heart. It does. Just breaks my heart. But what are you gonna do? You know what I'm gonna do? I'm gonna go eat me some chicken fingers because we got this ranch that's really, really good. I'm not gonna tell you what ranch I got. You'll find some good ranch for yourself too. You know what I mean? I feel like going into a store, we all know, man, going into a store, it's freaking impossible to go in there and come out without getting at least one bag of death. Okay, it's in everything. So we try to minimize. And then we realize that that's really hard to do because it's in a lot of things. So what me and my girlfriend have resorted to doing, you know what? I'm going to stick on for a little bit because I feel like this is important stuff. All right, because we got to do some positivity here. All right, fuck those guys. All right, this is what we've been trying to do. So we love good food. We love like good restaurant food. You know what I mean? Like, you know, places, but also we like fast food joints. You know what I mean? Like, there's a couple of fast food joints that we fucking love going to, and we go to them probably a little too much than we should, or at least we used to. We actually really don't do it a lot anymore. We actually do a lot of at-home cooking, at-home eating. Yeah, there are several nights where we will cave in. We'll just get a bunch of junk food and we'll sit there and play video games and eat junk food until 2 a.m. But those days are, you know, like, you know, for us, you know what I mean? We need to be able to have our days to, you know, see, because for regular humans, we don't need to go to St. Bart's to go freaking party and get away from the kids and everything like that from Christmas. You know, we like to just, you know, stay home and play video games like regular people. Like, I don't know, like but then again, like when, like I said, when you get to a point where you're making so much fucking money and you're in control of so many things and you know how so many things are being ran, you get bored. You're like, dang, there's not a lot I can really do. So there's a few things I can do, and it's really fucked up, but at least I'll have some fun. And that's what these guys are thinking, right? So that's the game they play. You know, we like to play PlayStation. You know, it's fun, but yeah, food. What we've been doing for food was we will just recreate our favorite foods at home. So like we like eating yakisoba noodles with like the grill like the teriyaki noodles and stuff like Mobetta or teriyaki madness or stuff like that. Teriyaki boy, place like that. And so we stopped doing those, pulled back out of that, and then now we're doing like we'll just get a whole big bag of frozen chicken and a whole big bag of frozen vegetables and a whole big bag of I have this huge bag of rice, and then we got a huge thing of freaking noodles. And yes, we know the noodles are terrible, and she doesn't really eat the noodles. I do, because I love them. They're great. You know what I mean? It's just like, that's the thing. I know that all of it's horrible. I know all of it's horrible. You know what I mean? It's called junk food, but that's why I rely on it. I rely on the junk food because I know it's not a lie. I know it's horrible for me. So I'll choose that horrible lifestyle over the bullshit lie of a fucking good one, but also because that's the only one I can afford. You know what I mean? It's just like I said, we try where we can. We like to get fresh. I like to get like ingredients. I like to cook. But I also have a hard time eating because I have like a really bad fucked up stomach because I did stupid things like I said, I did stupid things that people told me to do, and I thought that they were a good idea to do them because, they were my fucking superiors. So I listened to my fucking superiors, and I, wouldn't fuck my stomach up for the rest of my goddamn life. So now I have to fucking deal with the incompetence of my fucking poor leadership who think that fucking... Anyways, so to combat that, what we'd like to do is we'll get these whole the big bags and everything. So we'll I'll fry up the chicken, and I'll make like fried rice, or I like to steam the rice. Me personally, I like to wash and steam rice. So like I'll do the steam rice, and then I'll make the noodles and everything like that. And then the vegetables, I'll slap some teriyaki sauce up in there and everything, and then I'll mix it all up, and it's like this delicious fucking thing, right? It's great. I love it. I'm not dropping hints or anything. I know we have to cook this shrimp tonight, babe, but like if you want to do the other one, I mean, we can do a little mix up. I trust the squash though. We'll try the squash. We're doing the squash tonight, okay? We're doing this brown butter squash ravioli. You can see I'm very much not excited about it, but she has never made a not tasty thing. Everything she makes, I can't eat a fuck enough of it. So like, I know it's gonna be fire. I'm just like, squash. What I mean? But squash is good for me. I'm supposed to be eating squash, so like, I'm being a sauerkraut about it, and it's funny because she doesn't like sauerkraut. So, ha, no, I'm joking. But yeah, we're gonna do a ravioli shrimp tonight. So I guess we're doing like an Olive Garden type of thing. We're gonna do ravioli shrimp with the squash and the ravioli or whatever, and the brown butter, some garlic. There's some other stuff going into that thing. I know she's doing other stuff too. And then we're also gonna do a pot roast, I think, tomorrow. That I'm also kind of excited for. That pot roast is gonna be fire. But first squash. Okay. First we gotta squash the beef. But yeah, that's what we like to do. We like to take like foods that we like to get from restaurants, and we just make them ourselves. Like I like steak. Okay, so like I'm excited for camping. Camping's coming up. That's my opportunity to escape this place. You know what I mean? Because otherwise, I go do what I'm comfortable doing the most, and that's sleeping outside. You know what I mean? I did it for a long time, and not because I wanted to, but because I had no choice. But so ironically, the most comfortable sometimes that I feel, especially when under extreme stress, is going outside and finding the quietest place that's away from people, all people everywhere, and sleeping, because I find sleeping with wild animals to be far more comforting than sleeping in a heavily condensed metropolitan area. And that comes from my experiences having to live outside in a metropolitan area and then being made to, like, you know, well, not being made to, like, I guess my life is very different now. My life is very different because I am busting my fucking ass in order to continue to make my life better every day, but also because I have amazing people in my life that continue to propel me forward. Very soon, maybe Enki will be on the list, but so far, all he does is just, give me reasons to go outside and clean up shit. So, and the and that thing when Cat comes by, I got heart for the street, you know what I mean, so when the stray cats, I like to, there's a bit of a political battle going on right there. So there's Cat, she's like the main cat. She runs the cats around here, and I feed Cat because I'm pretty sure that if I don't, Cat will send the other cats on to me, right? So me and Cat are like on a truce, right? But then there's this usurper on the streets, and it's this other cat named, I call him Nuts, because he's got a fucking pair on him. Okay, this motherfucker's got a pair on him because he and only here's why I decided to take a political lean in this here in the struggles of the cat war here in the neighborhood, okay? Because I used to feed all cats equally, okay? I used to feed all cats equally every evening. I go out there with a bowl of cat food. I'd set it out, and I put out a little bit of milk, and I just sit out there and I chill, and I let the cats fucking do their thing while while I smoke a blunt. I'm just chilling, doing my thing, and I feed the cats. And it was fine because at first it was mainly just Cat. It was just me and Cat. So she'd come over, and she came over every day. It didn't matter what time it was. She was just there. Like, it was almost like she was like my own house cat outside. I had an outside cat, right? I had an alley cat. And so Cat, me and Cat's chilling, and this other cat shows up. Nuts shows up for the first time one night. And there's other couple cats and everything. And up to that point, I was usually only letting the female cats eat because all the male cats, I noticed, were, up until I started feeding those female cats, the male cats used to fucking go out there and hunt. They used to do their fucking job. And then they started noticing that, female cats was getting it easy, so they came over and they was trying to get it easy so I wouldn't feed them. And one of these cats, Nuts, came up into my fucking house when I had my fucking back turned and fucking pissed on my goddamn wall to mark its territory, and then fucking walked outside and started trying to pick a fight with another goddamn cat. So I was fucking hot, man. I fucking threw my chocolate at that motherfucker. I was like, get ya, man, with the brush. I'm out there scooting his ass. Fucking Cat's like, oh shit, man. She's fucking ducking and diving. She's in here doing this from the stairs and shit, just fucking checking. She's freaking out, you know what I mean? I'm fuck with that broom, trying to get that fucking nut punk ass up out of there. Cause he's got a big old fucking pair of nuts. So I swept his ass right on his nut sack, right up, fucking get his ass out the damn house. Man, I was hot. I was fucking hot. But yeah, so he pissed on my fucking wall. So ever since then, me and Nuts have been at odds. And now, I got a dog, It was funny as fuck when Cat met the dog. It was fucking funny. It was funny, but story for another day. Fucking Nuts is always, so he likes to post up right across the fucking way, right? Right across the way. He likes to chill right there, right in front of the fucking door, because he knows every once in a while I'll put a little bit of food out for Cat. Cat will eat what she can, and she'll leave, and his ass will come up and fucking scrounge up the breast, right? But I got this dog. Now, the dog's gotten better about it because he always chills there. Where, like, when I bring the dog out to use the restroom, you know, he sees the cat and he's just like, you know, I got you. And I keep telling this dog that this cat will fuck him up because, you know, like, yeah, he's a dog, right? He's a big old buff, tough boof, right? But no, he suffers from acute boofism, okay? He suffers from it. He ails from it, okay? Look at him. Look at him. Come here. Come here. Look at him. Look at him. He ain't ready for war. He ain't ready for combat. Look at him. Look at him. He is not squared away. Look at that booth. You can't. Oh, see, he's good for the stealth ops though. You know he's good for the stealth ops. At least he's got that. So never mind. He's ready for the stealth ops. You ready, Boof? He's ready. Yeah, you hear that? He's ready. He said, "Hell yeah, I'm ready. I'm ready, Snoof. Snoof, you ready, Boof? You ready? Yeah, you ready? Yeah, he's ready. I'm ready. It's about time, okay? It's hit 2 hours, 30 minutes. I've been doing this long enough for today. I'll hop back on tomorrow. Who knows? Maybe I'll have something a little bit more organized instead of losing my shit. Maybe not. Maybe so. Find out next time on... Probably shouldn't say this. Do. Yeah.